All right, number one, let me say this. Let me get this out of the way. The Cleveland Cavaliers are getting old. All right, they're a very talented club. They're very, they're the favorites to go to the back to the finals, but they're getting old. All right, I'm looking at this team. Right, LeBron James is 32 years old. Okay, J.R. Smith is over 30. Kevin Love he's not old, but Kevin Love was never a good defensive player. Jeff Green is over 30. Kyle Korver is like in his mid-30s. I think Kyle Korver is about my age. So Kyle Korver is like 36, 37. Wade is 35. Shumpert has to be, Kung Fu Master, has to be over 30 now. He hasn't looked the same defensively the last couple of years. Shannon Fry has to be somewhere nearing my age, mid-30s. Jose Calderon, who didn't play, he's over 30. Rose is not quite 30 yet, but you get the point. You get the point. And I said this last year, I thought that Cleveland was starting to get a little old. They struggled during the final part of the final 40 games of the regular season. They struggled, They played almost 500 ball during the finals. You saw how Golden State was able to score something like 124 points a game against Cleveland. So it's like Cleveland has to outscore people to win. Cleveland can't always rely on their team defense to win ball games for them. So having said that, that's one of the reasons why tonight they struggled against Chicago Bulls. My Bulls are not a great team, but they have some younger players. And when you have those younger legs going up against these older guys, sometimes that speed, you guys have heard the term speed kills. Well, that's apparent. That's very true in the game of basketball. And sometimes youth and athleticism can beat a superior team. Case in point to 2007 NBA playoffs first round, Golden State Warriors versus the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks were the better team, but Golden State during that series won because of the fact that they were more athletic and they were a little bit younger. Not to say that Dallas was an old team per se, but Dallas was never noted for their defensive prowess, especially during those years. But let's talk about this game a little bit. For the first time in 12 years, LeBron James officially played the point guard position. Of course, we had injuries to Derrick Rose, who was injured a couple days ago, and Isaiah Thomas, who's going to be the starter whenever he comes back. Of course, he's still dealing with the hip injury. So LeBron James officially started the point guard position. Now, of course, there have been various games where LeBron James has essentially played the point, but this is the first time since 2005 that he's actually started at the point guard position, and he was sensational. 34 points, 2 rebounds, 13 assists, and he shot 13 of 20 from the floor, including 4-6 from three-point range. Through the first 4 games, LeBron James is shooting 43 of 70 from the field, which is over 61% shooting. Absolutely sensational. As a matter of fact, most of the players for Cleveland were productive tonight. Jeff Green had 16 points. Kyle Korver, 11 points, including 3 of 6 three-point range. Wade had 11 points on 5 of 7 shooting. Nice bounce-back game for Dwayne Wade. Shannon Fry, 8 points, 3 of 3 from the field, including 1 of 1 from three-point range. Kevin Love, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 3 of 7 from three-point range. Jay Crowder, 11 points, 3 of 7 for three-point range. As a matter of fact, the only 2 players to struggle were Ninja Master, Iman Shumpert, 0 for 3 from three-point range, did not score. And the guy who lamented so much about not being in the starting lineup, J.R. Smith, fucking stunk it up. 32 minutes, 3 fucking points. 1 of 8 from fucking field, 1 of 7 from beyond the arc. 1 of 7. J.R. Smith is the streakiest three-point shooter I have ever seen in my life. I don't like his game. Okay, I really wish they would trade his fucking ass and get a more consistent three-point shooter. You're a shooting guard. Okay, you're supposed to be a better shooter than Wade, but oh well. But Cleveland improves to 3-1 in the year. My Bulls fall to 0-3. But I still think Cleveland struggles. They were down to Cleveland going into the fourth quarter. It was especially struggling with Chicago in the first half of this ball game. And their three-point shooting played a big factor in them getting into the game and ultimately winning. Overall, Cleveland was 16 of 38 from beyond the arc, which is absolutely just insane. At the same time, though, the Chicago Bulls were even better from three-point range. They were 17 of 33 from area code range, and I mean it's just I don't know, man. I'm looking at Chicago's players, man, and Cleveland has a lot to work out, man. A lot of things that they're gonna have to work out. Justin Holiday. Big game from him. Came into this game averaging 10 points maybe. Scores 25 points. But Markkanen, 19 points, 8 rebounds. Yeah, it's Cleveland's age is really catching up with them, in my opinion, guys. Y'all might disagree with me, but Cleveland's age is a problem. A team that I'm starting to think of right now, historically, that just got old all of a sudden, would be the Philadelphia 76ers, okay? The Philadelphia 76ers in 82-83 season, they went 65-17 during the regular season. In the playoffs, they were 12-1, which was the all-time record until the 2000-2001 Lakers, who went 15-1. And, of course, that was bested just this past year by the Golden State Warriors, who went 16-1. Of course, they famously swept the Los Angeles Lakers, the Showtime Lakers, at that, in the NBA Finals. And Julius Erving finally won his championship ring during his NBA tenure. Of course, during the ABA, Julius Erving was a multiple-time champion. But the very next year, they looked different. They became middling as far as scoring is concerned. Their defense remained good, but their scoring went down. Some of that was due to Julius Erving. A lot of it was due to Moses Malone. They just didn't look the same as they had the year before. Matter of fact, let me pull up some numbers. Let's see. 83-84, Philadelphia went 52-30. And that was the year they famously were upset in the first round by the New Jersey Nets, led by young Buck Williams. 83-84, they averaged 107.8 points per game, which was 16th out of a league of 23 teams. Whereas the year before, they averaged 112 points per game, which put them 8th out of 23 teams. So age can just hit a team just like that. So we'll see. You know what I mean? Cleveland's not that old per se in comparison to some of the other historically old teams in NBA history that were still pretty good. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cleveland is the oldest team in the NBA. So from having watched basketball for so long, I do know that older teams have a tendency to become a little bit inconsistent with certain things. Some nights they look great, okay? Some nights an older team that's still an elite team, some nights they'll look great. Some nights they'll be firing on all cylinders. You'll think they got everything fixed. You know, all the kinks worked out. You know, this team is headed for the finals and championship glory. And then some nights they'll play against a middling team and they'll look like shit. That's what happens when you go through the aging process in the NBA. I've seen it before with the Bulls. I've seen it with the Celtics, with Ray Allen and Paul Pierce and Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, excuse me. I even seen it with the Pistons when they started getting a little bit older in the 2000s. Once you get a little bit older, you start struggling a little bit with certain teams, you know. But tell me what you guys think, man.